Critic Boxers, we are trying a new segment this time, and we're calling it the Movie Year Showdown. We're gonna work on the theme song. Okay, this is a new segment where we are comparing the top 10 movies of 2 different years. Which year has the most, which has the best? Why? What did one year have that the other year didn't have? Could we mix and match? What were your favorites? What have you seen? What have you not seen? Let's begin. We're talking 1977 versus 1984.
All right, Jared.
Yes.
Jared, here's the thing. You have to know that, 1984 is better. You have to know. Just based on the list. Listen, I love Star Wars.
Let me finish the description before we decide, because obviously it's going to be 1984, but we have to do 1977 justice and talk about it. We gotta talk about it.
Easy debate.
That's what the showdown's about. Let me at least list them out so we can talk about it before we say obviously, objectively, 84 is better.
Beverly Hills Cop is number 1.
Ghostbusters, Gremlins. Are you kidding?
You know what? Let's just jump to 1984. We're on it now. Let's just talk about it now. 1984, Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, everyone's favorite, Gremlins, The Karate Kid, Police Academy, Footloose, Romancing the Stone, Star Trek 3, The Search for Curly's Gold, and Splash.
Star Trek always Star
100%.
Wars.
And it's The Search for Spock, and it's Spock. I think that's the one where Spock is trying to get his rocks off and is going through a whole bunch of shit, if I remember correctly. Spock is having
2 was the one where Spock died and then they sent his body out into space. 3 is, oh shit, hold on, let's go find Spock again. You have to get the Dragon Balls to bring
he's
Spock
going through
back.
his moment, because Vulcans can only have sex once every 7 years or something. They need to bang at that point. So I think that's what that one is. My
Vulcans ain't machines, I'm just saying. Okay, yes. So let's start it off and talk about 1984, Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy. Let's talk about 1983 Eddie Murphy, all right? When he came out with his comedy special with that red jacket and everything, damn, to this day, that's still the flyest jacket I've ever seen in a stand-up comedy special. Okay, so then 1984, Eddie Murphy comes out with Beverly Hills Cop. Hell yes, the theme song, everything about it.
Okay, that was a theme song?
That was a theme song. Producers, do we? Yeah, we have the copyrights for it. Yeah, we can play that. Anyway, and then hold on. Yeah, okay, yeah. Look at this. Look at this.
I was working where? Beverly Hills.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Right? It's the Pepsi song. It's the song that Pepsi repurposed for their ad in 2005.
Oh, yes.
Well, you don't mind if I ask around a little bit, do you?
Don't do a damn thing. Stay out of this.
Tired of defending your antics to the commissioner.
The nicest police car I've ever been in my life. This thing's nicer than my apartment.
So 80s. It's so fun, and I love that that's where we are right now with movies. Is that this is cool again?
You needn't bother coming back.
You could have made this right now, and everybody would go to the theater and watch it.
Yes. If they put it back out in theater, it would still bang.
Yeah, man. Honestly, if you took this entire movie list and reran it this summer for $2,
which again, why don't they?
You'd be so
Why don't
mad.
movie theaters have a retro room? All right, retro. This month we're showing this movie.
Yeah, if movie theaters did retro room and ran 4 movies per month. You know what I mean? 1 at 6 and 1 at 9 every night.
Oh, that this scene was different.
Sash.
No,
It's
I'm fine,
Sash.
thank you. I'll make it to myself right back there with a little lemon twist. It's good. Try it.
That. Woohoo.
That whole scene with Sedge was
Sash. You're saying it wrong. Sash.
It's just comedy. Beverly Hills Cop was comedy genius. It catapulted Eddie Murphy to the place where he belonged to be, which was at the top of his game,
because before that he was riding high with SNL, riding high with his stand-up. I think he had done a couple other movies prior, but they were good movies, but they didn't launch him like Beverly Hills Cop launched him.
No, this was
Where was Trading Places? When was that one?
The only movie in 1977 that can even compete with that was The Spy Who Loved Me, which was Roger Moore and his James Bond thing. And okay, fine. The 70s, yeah, if you're into the disco ball and the bell bottoms and all of that stuff, that's fine. But
disco was just getting up and going in 77.
Pardon me?
76, 77, disco was just starting to ramp up out then.
Right, but because I'm just naturally more of a fan of the 80s, and I'm gonna look. I hate Indiana Jones. I hate the Ghostbusters. Gremlins freaked me out.
Oh.
It still makes me sad. Police Academy makes me laugh. Footloose is a classic that's always going to be dear to my heart. Romancing the Stone, I haven't seen. Star Trek 3, they have to go back and watch it and splash. I've never even heard of it. But the fact that they're all in the 80s.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let's go and talk about 1977 since we immediately shit on it before I even got to say what the movies were.
I've seen a lot of these. Truthfully, I've seen a lot of these. If you haven't read it, read Cinema Speculation by Quentin Tarantino. If you're too busy, like me, listen to the audiobook. He reads the first 2 chapters, which is kind of fun. But he talks through like all of the movies he's ever seen. And so from that, I went back and watched a bunch of old movies. There's movies on this list that like I went back and watched. So like these are good movies. They're just not as good as the 80s.
Okay, before we get to semi-tough, we're going to argue about what were good movies. Anyways, okay, so it's 1977, number 1, starting it off, which, let's just say, arguably, the number 1 is the reason that things got better after 1977. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. If you're talking about a movie,
until he received a mysterious message.
I met the props maker for this movie on an island.
Star Wars,
he lives on an island now, but he designed.
Damn well should.
He designed Yoda.
A little short for a stormtrooper.
I'll see a little short for a stormtrooper.
And Harrison Ford was a reader. He used to be a carp, and then he was a reader.
Yeah, they asked him to read for this during the casting. They're like, actually, you're doing a pretty good job. You want to be Han Solo? He's like, yeah.
Alec Guinness.
This is exactly what happened. He started me working at the studio as a carp.
And he also sold weed to the stars. So
yeah, it's a big deal. This is an important one.
The most extraordinary motion picture of all time.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
The most extraordinary motion picture of all time.
The way it changed the culture. Yes, absolutely. It was pivotal.
Be as exciting as this romance of the future.
Here they come.
May the Force be with you in Star Wars.
Star Wars. Oh my God! Okay, let's just say that movie, almost, a whatever budget, it was like everyone thought it was going to flop, nothing put into it, sci-fi, who gives a shit about space, whatever. That movie came out, that blew up movie theaters. That was a blockbuster when it first came out, when that dropped. And then also, that created merchandising, my friend. Nobody thought anything about merchandising before that. Nobody thought about the action figures and shit that were going to come out before. And then it sold like gangbusters. And then 1977 Star Wars Episode 4 is the reason we have almost everything in 1984. That changed the game,
so
baby.
77, Jared, let's back you up one hot minute.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like Star Trek, like early 60s, selling action figures for sure. Space 1999. I feel like there's a couple other shows that like are also doing the action figures. I will concede to you in the sense that absolutely Star Wars becomes this big friggin' ball drop.
Everything was Star Wars then. For years, everything was.
But they knew. The craziest part is like I have a story from like a friend of mine. Their mom was at a soccer game in Hungary and happened to like have box seats and was sitting next to George Lucas, who told her at the time in the early 70s about this show he was making called Star Wars and about how it had like 3 parts, but it was actually going to have 6 parts. And gave her, like, her 16-year-old self the whole lowdown on Star Wars. And she's like, that's going to be cool. I guess I'll see it when it goes to the movie theaters. And then lo and behold, like 5 years later, it's in the movie theaters.
Gee whiz. Yeah. And it happened.
So they knew what they were doing, and they knew it was the long game. So, like, to put out merchandising early makes a lot of sense because they know they're going to make money on it. They know that it's going to be a long game. Here we are 50 years later, still selling this merchandise. Like,
still watching Star Wars remakes.
100%.
Number 2, Smokey and the Bandit.
Fine. Whatever.
Burt Reynolds at his prime. Number 3, Close Encounters of the Third Kind with Richard Dreyfuss.
Classic.
Yeah, that one was, that's a good year for sci-fi. We're talking about like Star Wars and Close Encounters. Yeah, that was a sci-fi year. Close Encounters, yeah, that was a slow burner sci-fi. That was a wonderful one too. Saturday Night Fever. Woo! Which, let's be honest, anything after the initial first 5-10 minutes, you can just You could just forget the rest of that movie, let's be honest. That was like the opening scene with like, I mean, people say everybody shake what you're saying. Carry that paint can. That was it. That was John Travolta, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. These bell bottoms I was here for, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. And then A Bridge Too Far existed. The Deep, that was a movie. The Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore. That was a
movie.
That was a James Bond movie.
Bond film.
That had the underwater car. That had Jaws, like a 7 foot tall motherfucker with a metal grill biting and punching shit. That was him. There was always that scene where he flew off the side of a mountain, and that was the longest, coldest shot where you like everyone slowly leaning forward in the chair, like what's gonna happen? Boom! Union Jack parachute, burn up, like that was the movie Spy Who Loved Me.
That's why I brought it up. I mean, I feel like that The Spy Who Loved Me and Star Wars are the only 2 movies off of the 77 list, and maybe Close Encounters of the Third Kind if you're into sci-fi, that can even compete with the solidness that is 1984.
But like,
hold on, we're still going down this. We're still going down this.
So different.
Hold on.
Different from the 70s to the 80s, just in like tech and regards to money and quality and people and like what you can do and like what studios would let you do and on major release. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're dealing in totally like different.
No, we are. I know. I got a huge point I'm about to drop, but I ain't getting to that yet. Hold on. Let me go through this. Oh God, with John Denver. And oh my God, I remembered his name. I love him. Oh God. Who am I thinking? George Burns. Oh, that's what I'm thinking. George Burns. Man lived to be 100 and he smoked cigars every day. Anyway, that was a cute, fun film. It was like a Evan Almighty before all that. Anyway, I'll get to number 9 in a second. Oh yeah, go ahead. Show me a little bit of this. This is a highly 1977 film. If you want a time capsule of a movie, watch this. Look at this.
It's so good. It's like it's
God, if you get to look at the prices.
It's so fascinating because we're still framing for theater at this point. Like the 70s, we're still like primarily operating in these like medium wides for most of our action and for most of our storytelling, other than like insert close-ups like this. You know what I mean? Like this is so what you would call nowadays a medium. Do you know what I mean? It's like shoulders up.
Yep, shoulders up. You don't show a whole. Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not doing any screamers. We're not like nice and
There's
tight.
There's no tight. There's no tight. Yeah.
Nah. Like this is as close as we're gonna get. You know what I mean? So it's just like
look
so
at John Denver driving a Gremlin.
It's so fun.
That's just an expression.
All right. Anyway, going back, I'll get to number 9. Number 10, Semi-Tough, which, I mean, that was just a goofy movie. That was like an American Pie of 1977 featuring Burt Reynolds, Chris Christopherson, and a lot of just lewd humor. It's a football movie. Anyway, number 9, Annie Hall. Can we show the trailer for Annie Hall, please and thank you?
I love Annie Hall. I have such a soft spot for this movie.
Really? The best thing about it is
Did we got for what? I mean, yeah, though this is Woody Allen that he hit the ground hard because, I mean, directing it, writing it, being the main character of it, it is objectively a good movie.
Yeah. I think that this is somebody that like really like we don't like Woody Allen anymore, truthfully.
Which is fair. Yeah,
like,
totally fine.
I just feel like
he did that to himself.
He did so much. It is so much work to write and direct and act and like especially back on film. This is so wild.
And this, let's just talk about Diane Keaton in this movie.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, listen. Diane Keaton is going to be a film goddess. She just has that quality about her, and any work that she does, she's just a freaking amazing actress to watch. But Woody Allen, I mean, I just feel like I just get this sense everything that he's ever put out, it just feels like a vanity film on his part. Like it was. Case him, you know?
Yeah, no, that was absolutely. Also, you've seen Woody Allen films, then yes, it's absolutely a Woody Allen porn. Oh, just like, what if he was actually charismatic? What if people liked him? What if he could carry on a great conversation with people? You know, that was it. But what this movie did was I think it changed a lot of vibe of what a rom-com could be. a rom-com could have, like, you could play like a little more artistic with it. You could have natural dialogue instead of like forced, real like canned dialogue.
Instead of I am returning home to see my father for Christmas.
Yeah.
He runs a B&B. We're selling candles.
How we've recessed.
Leave
Yes.
Hallmark out of it. Just leave. Well, Hallmark and Lifetime.
How dare you?
That is what they do, and we're.
No, I just feel like there's a better way to share that exposition.
Yeah, but that's the thing with, I mean,
Is that a
Star
young
Trek, yes.
Christopher Walken?
That was a young Christopher Walken, absolutely. And look at this.
Look at this
Woody
red
Allen
light.
as in a sex scene. Nobody wants that. He gave it to us. Nobody asked for it, but yeah.
And all I'm gonna do.
He asked for it.
I'm gonna give Woody here. What's his name?
Woody Allen. Woody Allen. Don't you bring Woody Harrelson into this.
Sorry, I was thinking about it. I'm gonna give Woody Allen points for composition. He frames full shot.
Stunning. The framing is gorgeous.
However, it just feels like all of his movies are just odes to himself, whether he's in it or not. It just feels
There's not a disagreement here.
weird.
Yeah, that's absolutely what Woody Allen movies are. You could hit or miss with a lot of other Woody Allen movies, but we can talk about Annie Hall being the one to launch it and the star-studded cast of stars that later became stars. Annie Hall absolutely brought it.
Go back and watch it.
You can absolutely watch it and have a good time and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a movie. Like it's a solid movie.
Now, let's talk about the huge elephant in the room that nobody's talking about, but my wife reminded me because she used to be in marketing, and so she had to study digital marketing. The huge difference between 1977 and 1984, not specifically those years, but around those years, is home video absolutely hit hard in the early 80s. It turned movies from... Because 1977, any one of those films, 1 through 10, you got to see it in theaters, and that was it. That was the only way you were going to see that movie, and then you had to either see it and remember it to talk about your friends afterwards, because there's no way to watch it again. Early 80s, the invention of video cassette, or Betamax being the better one, but we didn't get that one. We live in the world of VHS. And then VHS came out where you could go to a store. You could rent any of these. You didn't get to see it in theaters. That's fine. You can see it again. Go to the go to the store, pick it up off the shelf, watch it, take it home. You could own it, but VHSs were a little expensive back then, but you can still do that too. But look at that changed the game for studios. That added so much money on the back end. There was nothing on the back end back in the day. In the 77, 7 years prior to 1984, there was no back end. Now, you could go to the stores and watch all this. That's all back end, baby. And that was a time when, Star Wars didn't create merchandising, but it started becoming a thing. It started look at kids movies. Not a whole lot in the 70s. Whole bunch of movies geared towards kids. Beverly Hills Cop, no. Ghostbusters, oh my god, geared towards kids. Indiana Jones was, but it wasn't. Gremlins, kind of not for kids, but it was fun. The Karate Kid, obviously named there or whatever. Footloose, Splash wasn't. Anyways, but a lot of movies, you could take your kids to go see those movies again, and you could go to McDonald's, get a toy from them. You can go to the store, get a toy from them. You can go rent that movie and shut them up at a sleepover. That was the difference. That's when studios started investing more money into movies because they knew they could get more out of it on the back end. That was the game changer for Hollywood. That's why the 80s, pound for pound, have more hits than anything in the 70s.
100%. 100%.
That's
because
exactly why.
You have a bigger sale radius. You know what I mean? For people that were no longer going to the movies or couldn't afford to go to the movies, this was a huge shift.
So much fun. So much of a shift. Absolutely. That's why a lot more bangers started coming out. It's because studios were like, whoa. We can get a lot more money out of it if we put more money into it. And that's when you started getting a whole lot of that going on there. That's when you started getting some big old, even musicians were like, oh, I want to get in on the music game of films too. That's when everybody started getting in, is when you could get back end money. Outside of that, it was you got it in theaters, either it hit or it didn't, and it disappeared into history. And then as soon as you can start taking it home to watch it, that was the game changer.
Give us toys. That's basically what the movie industry said at that time. Give us toys.
Give us toys. Give us things to play with. Absolutely.
Give us stuff, man.
Merchandising.
I agree with you. The business changed between the 2 years, and therefore the movies from the 80s had more of an impact financially. But I just feel like commercially and for audience choice. I mean, the 1984 list is a hard list of movies.
Those are heavy hitters. That's hard to
I
go
don't
against.
know that
I
you
don't even know
go
what
to
1983
any
had. I don't know what 1985 had either. But damn, 84 had some hits.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know that you could put that against any year and be cool with it. Maybe 2009, maybe like the year of Avatar. I don't know. But
Yeah,
like,
you got to
that's
get
such
me
a
another.
hard hit list.
I'm sorry, producers. You need to go back. I mean, you like that's not fair in 1977. That was not fair at all for that one to be compared to 1984. Because I mean, I'm the guy. I've seen some movies. I haven't seen all these movies. I've seen almost all of 1984 movies, minus Star Trek.
Really? You haven't
Yeah.
seen the Star Trek one?
I haven't seen Star Trek. I haven't seen any of the older Star Trek ones. I mean, I would
Really?
love to.
Oh,
My wife says she's a
Jared.
huge Star Trek fan, but we haven't like sat down. I have not watched almost
Go
any
let her
Star
nerd
Trek.
out on you, Jared. You owe her that. You owe
I
this
do.
woman.
Go watch Star Trek. I just feel like 77 is a really good defensive list for movies. I mean, Star Wars, Saturday Night Fever, The Spy Who Loved Me, Annie Hall, Avengers of the Third Kind.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay, fine, whatever. But 84 was giving us offense. Like 84 was the blowout game in
Damn, yo.
the playoffs. Like it's just,
Yeah.
the whole list. I mean, on that list, even if I may have not watched all of the movies on that list,
Mhm.
there's only one I don't know.
Which one?
Splash.
Oh, yeah, see Splash?
I don't
Really? You never seen
Splash was fun. That was a fun movie.
really.
Hold on, let me look it up. That was Bo Derek, I believe.
Is it? Which is
Yeah.
that the one with the cornrows and it just turned America?
Yeah, it's
Oh, that's Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, baby.
Yeah.
That was young Tom Hanks. That was like Tom Hanks doing comedy Tom Hanks.
He a baby. He
Oh,
a baby
Daryl
in
Hannah.
that
I'm sorry,
movie.
Daryl Hannah. She played it. And then Eugene Levy, John Candy, others. Splash was
Yeah,
a fun
no,
movie.
Okay, but that's fine. But what I'm saying is that
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Can we look at the trailer for Splash, please? I would love to see the trailer. I would love to see. Which, by the way, I'm kind of looking at the trailer now. You're gonna see how the lighting department was on strike during the 80s. I want to say that. If there's any critique you could have of the 80s, the gaffers did not do their job. Like 1980s films were dark, and I don't know why, but you can always tell by looking at them.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I mean, like lights were expensive back then.
Yeah,
Jared, you know what? Okay, we had
They were
film
more
development. We could lighten it in post. We fixed
They
it.
were
in
more
post.
expensive in the 70s, and that's again, I don't know why, but they decided to just like dark blue. So anyway, so this is looks like this is okay, so we see a kid, he fell in the water, he meets looks like a mermaid. He'll never forget. Years later. Oh no, Tom Hanks. This is also just a good example of don't put Tom Hanks in the water.
Don't wear your wallet in the water. It's a bad plan. Don't lose your shit.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he lost his wallet.
I mean, okay, fine.
And we got a naked Daryl Hannah.
Hello, a naked
Daryl Hannah
Daenerys
butt.
Targaryen woman.
Daryl Hannah butt.
I might go back and watch this, which is fine. I'm just saying, 1984 the movies finish on. And if I had to pick my top from each year, I'm gonna go with Star Wars from 77. Simply because of the fact that it's Star Wars, and Star Wars, like you said, changed the world. It changed the movie industry. It launched stars.
And look, I mean, let's just, of all the movies that I've watched umpteen hundred times, I mean, it was Star Wars.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Rewatchability, yeah.
For sentimental reasons, from 1984, even though I think there's a multitude of movies on this list that are absolutely great, for sentimental reasons, my choice is Footloose. Because I've watched that like 25 minutes.
Beat up their shoes. Doing.
Kevin Bacon.
Mhm.
Huge. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm picking, it's got to be like The Spy Who Loved Me because I have such a hardcore love for Bond films.
Yeah, that was Roger Moore's finest, I think. Yeah.
Right? He's so good. He's so good in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, okay, this is gonna sound so dorky. I
Yeah.
gotta go with The Karate Kid from '84.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Karate Kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Jared?
Okay. Obviously, let's just. I'm gonna do Star Wars. I mean, choice. When it comes to like, oh my God, all of these movies I love. I'm going to tell you the one movie I watched constantly as a kid on VHS, because that's just, as a kid, you just had the VHSs your parents had, and you don't know why they made their investment choices, but they did. I watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom all the time, almost like daily, if not weekly basis. I watched Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. Growing up, do I realize Raiders was better and The Last Crusade was really good too? Did I realize the history behind Temple of Doom? And we were watching, you're like, oh my God, Steven, what the hell were you doing? But I would say for me, it was Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. I watched that all the time as a kid. And it was my favorite Indiana Jones.
You are currently as an adult?
Oh, okay, as an adult, I'm going to go with Ghostbusters. Like, in terms of movies that I'm like, yo, it was written well, it was cast well, it was the story, everything else, the merchandising. Yeah, Ghostbusters as an adult of 1984, that's what I'm going with.
I actually think the Ghostbusters movie was better than the Ghostbusters cartoon, but anyway.
Yeah, it was. Objectively, the Ghostbusters movie and anything else from the franchise pales in comparison to the first Ghostbusters.
What about your 77?
Oh, I said Star Wars.
Oh, you said Star Wars?
Yeah, I said Star Wars. Yeah, I said Star Wars. I mean...
Oh, we agree on something.
Yeah, you and me. Episode 4. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Trekkie. I will be a Trekkie for life, but I have to give it up to Star Wars. It did its thing.
And again, as a potentially future Trekkie, I'm going to go with Star Wars. Because I haven't watched any of the Star Treks. Well, but I will remedy that.
You need to fix that. You need to go apologize to your wife and go have a conversation.
No, I know she needs to apologize to me for us not watching that together. All right, apparently they're wonderful, and I've just never seen him, and she's never gotten around to this. I know she has the DVDs.
So then be like, darling, honey, my love, my sweet,
honey,
I would love to watch
sweetheart,
Star Trek
baby,
with you. Let me order some takeout.
No. You should have put that in the prenup. I mean, they're long past all that now. You just got to let that go, Jared.
No, we're still in it. We're still in it.
Oh.
No, we're celebrating. My wife and I are celebrating 10 years of being together. This week, actually. This week is 10 years that we've been together, and we still haven't watched Star Trek. So that's got to be remedied.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful love exists, y'all. Look.
I know it's possible, y'all. You can do it, and happily married, by the way. I'm not just like, oh, my ball and chain. No, I'm absolutely subjective to my wife. I'm a wife stan. I'm a huge fan of my wife. She's fantastic, and she has a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays. Without her, we would not have physical copies because I don't have any.
Sarah, I think it's the DVD and Blu-rays. That's.
I'm gonna try to get that. If we ever do break, I'm gonna try to get half of that. I have no rights to it, but.
That's why you signed a prenup. That there, so you don't lose half your shit.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I have video game consoles. That's it. Anyway, okay, so now to wrap up, obviously, 1984 wins. Anybody disagree with that? Okay, so 1984 wins as a superior year because holy crap, that's a roster. Look, if that's your starting roster, you're going to the champions, okay? You're going to the finals if that's it. And on that, we are going to end this episode. I want to personally thank the fantastic Andrea, the wonderfully tired and sunburned Sarah. Y'all have a fantastic week of watching Splash, of watching other movies that you haven't gotten to watch that you now realize that it's been on your list. Get to it. All you critic boxers out there, what do you think? Which ones out of the top 10 of 77 and the top 10 of 84, which ones were your faves? Which one do you think? Do you think 77 was the better year? You have a lot of defense to do, but get in that comment section and let us know. All right, until next time, thank you for watching. Go out there and watch some cinema or TV.
Feel like the bad boys.
Is Jared frozen? I just feel like he could maybe move.
No.
Tried really hard. I appreciate the wax filter. There it is.
That's his new headshot. That's his new actor headshot right there.
Booking all the roles with that one.